Good morning, Florida lacrosse fans. Welcome to the July 26th, Tuesday edition of Morning Coffee with Florida Lacrosse News. This is Lee Roggenberg, your host. Let's get to the morning rituals. Maxwell House today. Dark roast, of course, only dark roast for me. Okay. Remember, if you haven't already done so, please subscribe to the channel. Like the videos if you do so. We appreciate all of the acknowledgments. First story, something that broke, I believe, Friday. Congratulations to Terry Crowley, St. Thomas Aquinas boys coach. Terry was named to the National Interscholastic Lacrosse Coaches Association Hall of Fame. Great honor. Obviously, anytime you're in any Hall of Fame, you have done an awful lot in your career. Congrats to Terry. After my move to Pompano, I live down the block from him, so I'll probably have to be paying for the first round on this one. Terry, again, congrats. Also noted that Skip Flanagan was also one of the inaugurees this year. Skip, the longtime Avon Old Farms head coach, and has been at least a snowbird in Florida for a number of years now. I've gotten to know him a little bit and certainly look forward to getting to know him even more. He's been helping out at some of the local programs, particularly St. Andrews this past season. So when Skip's back in town, hopefully we'll grab that long-awaited breakfast. And congratulations to you too. It's just a wonderful accomplishment for both of you to be named to any sort of Hall of Fame. University of Florida has another transfer. Bryant's Emily Diaz will be transferring in as a graduate year student. When I looked at Emily's statistics, she looks like a nice two-way midfielder who also took an awful lot of draw controls for Bryant. So again, I don't know what that means, if she'll be competing for a starting role or what, but again, a nice piece for the Gators to bring in as they look to finally get to that Final Four and maybe further this upcoming season. Erik Cartelle, congratulations to you. He's now the Gulliver head coach, replacing Jimmy Piggott. I might remember early in the year, Jimmy resigned to move on to with his family. Erik was the defensive coordinator at the school and has been elevated to head coach. We wish you well. Coaches, schools out there, everyone, parents, if you know of a coaching change, send it in to us. We will be putting those press releases up if we receive them. And I can tell you that's one of the toughest things for me to do over the summer and into the fall is keeping track of coaching changes without making an awful lot of phone calls. So please, whether on Twitter, give me a note on email, whatever. Just let me know about the coaching changes because we do want to keep up with them, obviously. And obviously, when it comes down to preseason previews, I need to be able to have the contact information to send it out to the right person. Jacksonville University on the men's side also with some transfers coming in. Georgetown's Dylan Watson is coming in, as is Rutgers short stick defensive midi Cole Daninger, and UMBC midi Brandon Galloway, although Brandon is no relation to John. So again, Jacksonville has utilized the transfer portal effectively in the past and certainly looks like they're doing it again. And obviously, we're keeping our fingers crossed this year that they get over the hump and get to the NCAA tournament, which was pretty close to maybe should have been there last year. But hopefully these help too. Reminder on Nicholas Dworet, August 21st swim clinic. There's still room for signups, so please check that out. PLL over the weekend. PLL scores. Redwood 16-15 over Atlas. TD Erlin went 67% of the faceoffs for them. Former Boca Jet, Garrett Epple, 3 ground balls, and former launch Jules Henenberg of a goal for Redwoods. Whip Snakes with the 14-12 win over Chaos. Bowls assistant head coach Matt Rambo, 3 goals, 1 assist. Joe Nardello went 65% at the faceoffs. Launches former launch Brian Cole and former launch Tyler Warner each scored a goal in the game. Archers 17-12 over Cannons. Justin Inacio went 73% at the faceoff circle. Tom Schreiber, Connor Fields, and Trey LeClaire 3 goals each in the win. And in the loss, former launch players Lyle Thompson and Ryan Drenner combined for 7 goals in that loss. The Water Dogs, 11-10 over Chrome in overtime. I was able to catch a good chunk of that one. Former launch Kieran McCardle, a goal and 3 assists. Former launch Dylan Malloy, a goal for Chrome in the defeat. That was a very impressive win for Water Dogs because they lost, I think, 3 players during the game, including, Michael Sowers, who had a hat trick in the first half and just fell ill and couldn't play the rest of the game. So, a gutty win for Water Dogs and Chrome falling to 4-2. They are at the Star in Frisco, outside of Dallas this week. That's certainly, I'm very interested to see how that broadcasts and the type of crowd they get there. I attended the MLL championship game in Frisco. That's already 4 or 5 years ago. And I can tell you back then, Frisco was considered the fastest growing city in America. And it was hard to see when I was at that game. Wonderful facility. It's the Dallas Cowboys practice facility. It also hosts a lot of things, concerts, high school football games, etc. 12,000 seats. I suspect they're going to get a heck of a crowd. And from listening to the broadcast, they were very pleased with the crowd at Fairfield this past weekend also. I hope that we're going to continue to see the release of the TV ratings to see how they're doing. ESPN2, I believe, had at least 1, maybe 2 of the games this weekend. I'm saying I'm kind of guessing because I made the leap this weekend to cutting the cord. And I kind of did it because in my new development, they tried a little bait and switch on me, giving me the bulk rate to start, knowing that within a month, the development was getting rid of the bulk rate. They wanted to charge me the regular customer rate. And when I asked the difference, it was like $120 a month. $120 a month, I can go grab a drink at a bar and watch a game there instead. Don't need to spend that much extra. Xfinity, I'm sorry, that's a ripoff, guys. You should be ashamed of yourselves. I have the internet. ESPN Plus carries an awful lot of these games anyhow, and probably all of them on replay if I wanted to go back. Plenty of the college games. Still biting the bullet on NFHS. Still have that. And and then I added a Peacock yesterday. Found a CNBC live stream online, and we're going to see how it works, cutting the cord, and see how far we can go with it. Hopefully, it won't make much of a difference, and maybe will force me to stay off TV a little bit more. So, we'll see how it goes going forward. Now, I also watched a little bit of the Athletes Unlimited. For those of you not familiar with Athletes Unlimited, they seem to be in an organization that is a blanket organization for multiple women's professional sports leagues. So far, I don't think the softball has started yet. The lacrosse one is in. I don't know if this is I remember them playing last year, but I didn't really pay much attention to it. So I tuned it in. And to be honest, I was fascinated with how they've set this up. And it's kind of basically the first week, they picked 4 captains at random. And there's 4 teams. I believe they played 3 games each on the weekend. And they base it, even though the team gets points for winning quarters and winning wins and winning the game, I'm sorry. This is an individual players league as far as who's going to be considered the champion. Because once the week is over, the top 4 point earners, and I'll go through this in a minute, are the team captains for the next week, and they hold a draft. 56 players are drafted, 14 per team, and they basically play with that team, and then it recycles and starts all over again the following week. That's a very fascinating approach to this. It's almost fantasy sports-like in a way. So each of the players on the field earns points, goalies for saves, ground balls, takeaways for goals allowed, that type of thing. Players get goals for all different types of statistics for the field play. And it's just a very fascinating way to look at designing a professional sport. I don't know what the compensation is like for them. I will say it certainly looked like they drew a nice crowd. And I'm sure ESPN is, I don't know if ESPN is paying them to broadcast, or if it's sort of a, one of these things where maybe it's based on ratings. If they really hit it out of the park, they get a certain amount of money. If they don't, they don't. I don't really know who the financial backers of this are yet. I haven't had a chance to delve into that. Whereas with PLL, they're pretty open about their funding ventures and who's contributing. You might have noticed a week ago they came out with their, I think it was the C level funding, maybe it was the D level, and it included investors like the WWE and some private equity funds. Those of you who know about PLO know that Paul Rabel was a big fan of the WWE, and you certainly used his knowledge of how they develop their business model in a ways to help launch PLL. So I'm going to try to keep watching this in the Athletes Unlimited. It was obviously a very high level. I mean, this is the creme de la creme of women's lacrosse players in this country. And certainly we can see that there's another thing for young girls to aspire to watch and to learn from. So I'll do some more digging and do some updating. On Thursday, we're going to delve into the Under Armour All-American game. Obviously, we have our 2 participants, one on the boys and one on the girls' side. And we'll do a little bit more deep dive into the game itself and the rosters and what to expect. Also going to talk about Jimmy Calder. Those of you who remember, I've mentioned him in the past. Jimmy was a year ahead of me at Hobart. Tremendous player. Member of the World Championship 1978 Canadian national team. Jimmy has finished his teacher's guide to his book on teaching the sport and its background, particularly its Haudenosaunee background. And I'm going to be purchasing it, and we're going to be reaching out to some schools, those who might want to have a special event type day, tie it into the study of a Native American culture, and include a lacrosse game at the end of it. And now, instead of having to develop the curriculum, it looks like Jimmy's pretty much giving you the current turnkey approach. So Jimmy, if you're out there listening, we're definitely going to move ahead with helping that. And I hope that everyone pays attention to this as we go forward. Okay, once again, let's take our farewell morning sip. Okay, once again, reminders, subscribe if you haven't done so. Like the videos, please. Remember also, if you are a business owner, marketing director, advertising director, and you'd like to tap into our audience, give us a call. I'll be talking to a company that specializes in a number of sports with a video approach. We're going to be talking to them at 11 a.m. today. So we are definitely going to be pushing our platforms and access to our audience. So remember, grow the game, respect the game, honor the game. Join us on Thursday at 8:30. This is Lee Roggenberg, Florida Lacrosse News, saying so long from the Sunshine State.